Welcome back. Joining me now is the leader of the opposition, Kemi Badenoch, in the studio. Lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you.
We're both in green queens. Right. Drill, baby, drill. The Conservatives have changed their tune, haven't they? You legislate for net zero in 2019. You have a moratorium on fracking in the same year. You introduced the North Sea windfall tax in 2022 and you ended coal power, and now you're going to try to put out the fires that you started.
Well, you keep saying you. Wasn't me.
It was your party.
And in fact, you will watch me standing up in Parliament saying this is not the right way to go.
Right.
And even as business secretary, I was the one pushing back. I got delays to so many of these things. Now I'm in charge. New party, new leadership, and I'm saying it is time to drill our oil and gas in the North Sea. Labour has banned new licences. I think that right now, given that we're importing gas from Norway,
yes.
40% of our gas. It's crazy. They're drilling in that same North Sea.
Yes.
We're importing gas from Norway and from further afield, dirtier oil. Doesn't make any sense. Drill our own oil and gas in the sea. It's good for national security because it's energy security and financial security. There's billions of pounds of oil that we're leaving down there. Money that we could get out, tax, use to subsidise people's household bills on top of our cheap power plan. This is a no-brainer. And the crazy thing is that we're not doing it because of Ed Miliband. That's the person who's really running the country.
OK, Ed Miliband will argue it doesn't make any difference. If you drill, baby, drill, it still won't bring energy costs down. That's
not true. You can use it to bring costs down. Why is Norway doing it? What do they know that we don't know? What you do is you drill, you get more money in taxes. Look at all those people whose jobs are disappearing. 1,000 jobs a month are disappearing from the oil and gas industry, particularly impacting Scotland. It doesn't care about any of those things. It's a silly argument. It's like saying, well, let's not farm our food because it won't make your food cheaper right now. It's just that doesn't make any sense.
So let's go through this legislation that was under the previous Tory administration. So the legislating of net zero, you've said you scrapped that. So you're tearing up that legislation.
That was one of the first things I did. I said it at the time. We're not doing it. It's just a slogan. There's no plan. It's not working.
Will you lift the ban on fracking? There's a story in the Sunday papers today saying we could frack by July if we really wanted to.
So I've always said that local communities should decide because it's particularly disruptive.
It to local communities.
Well, you've got to incentivise them. You've got to incentivise them. In other countries where they do this, the people who have to deal with it get lots of money. What always happens here is that it's the government that ends up taking everything and then people have to suffer the consequences. And I'm sick and tired of people's communities just being blighted by all sorts of things they have no control over. That's one of the reasons why part of our local election campaigning is about making high streets and communities better, abolishing business rates, business rates, dealing with them,
and the
public
lefties
order.
Will come in and they'll say, oh my goodness, we're going to have earthquakes, and therefore you won't get fracking through because there's just this massive lobby against it, even though some of their claims have been found wanting.
Yeah, so lefties will always argue about doing anything sensible. You know, they're out there protesting yesterday, in support of an Islamist regime that's brutalising people, killing women,
we'll get on to
and so on. So we don't need to listen to them to know what to do on energy policy.
OK, a North Sea windfall tax, that was a mistake, you think? What happens there?
Well, I mean, I had a roundtable as leader of the opposition with the oil and gas industry. One of them said they're being taxed 104% of profits.
That started with the Tories, didn't it?
Again, Camilla, I cannot build a time machine. I was not the person who did all those things. In fact, I did quite a lot to stop it. The zero emissions vehicle mandate, it would have already been in if I hadn't got it pushed back as business secretary. So I've been fighting for people for a long time. I'm proud of that.
What about coal power? It's not something we can start up again. Those blast furnaces have gone out. And we're going to need a lot more electricity and energy, aren't we, to fuel AI into the future. So what do we do about coal? Because other countries are building more coal power stations.
Let's focus on oil and gas. We have a plan that's going to mean we use the technology to start ensuring we can transition to relying on renewables eventually, but nuclear, it has to be part of that mix. I'm more interested in nuclear than I am in coal. That is something that's going to last a lot longer it's cleaner, it just delivers so much more. Okay. So we don't need to go back to coal. There's a lot that we can do on nuclear with renewables, but without spending taxpayers' money willy-nilly.
Isn't it? It's going to take ages to get nuclear online. Nick Clegg had the opportunity. He said, "Oh, we can't do this because it's going to take us till 2022."
I know. There's been too much short-term thinking. But if we start now, that's the soonest that we can start. So let's start now.
Okay. You mentioned Islamism earlier. We've had this row that has engulfed Nick Timothy, your Shadow Justice Secretary, about this public prayer event at the end of Ramadan in Trafalgar Square. Can you just clarify your position? Did you think it was an act of dominance?
So it was a domination of public space. The mayor was there. Remember, it was the mayor was there. Okay. The fact that the mayor was there is significant. The fact that
he's a Muslim. I mean, he was praying along with other Muslims.
Yes, but that means that he himself is effectively saying this is okay. The people who organised it, Keir Starmer himself withdrew from an event organised by them. They're highly controversial, and the gender segregation we've talked about. There is a lot that was found wanting. Okay. My issue at the moment is that Labour MPs are trying to shut Nick Timothy down, get him sacked for saying, "I don't like this. I don't think this is right. This is not the proper way to go about things." It is this silencing that causes the real problem.
Okay.
Manchester Arena, security guard doesn't say anything because he thinks, "Oh well, we're not allowed to say anything." Same thing with the grooming gang scandal. People see what happens to MPs like Nick Timothy and think, "Oh well, we're probably not allowed to raise concerns." We need to be able to raise concerns. We believe in freedom of religion in this country, but that doesn't mean that every cultural practice associated with a religion should be accepted.
Well, Nigel Farage has suggested that there should be a ban on this kind of public Muslim prayer. Do you agree with that? Should this event take place again at Trafalgar Square?
So I don't take my political views from Nigel Farage.
I'm just using an opponent's point of view. What's your view?
What we have said is that we want to see Trafalgar Square used for all sorts of festivities, but they need to be inclusive. They need to be things. I've seen Diwali festivals that everybody can go in, everybody's dancing, celebrating. There's no pushing the women out or pushing them to the back.
Well, the women were there; they were segregated, but then women are segregated by many different religions.
Yes, but not in public spaces. That doesn't mean just what happens in a mosque. What you do in a mosque is different from what you do in public square. So do you want to see if this
event is planned by the same group next year at Trafalgar Square? Will you rail against it and suggest it doesn't take place?
Well, I don't like that group. I think we need to look at how the event was organised, what the mayor had to do with it. But this is why I'm setting up this Culture and Integration Commission. We can't keep doing this whack-a-mole, saying, "Oh, well, this event is okay, or maybe not that one." Okay. We need to set some clear rules about what is acceptable in this country, and it has to be based on British values.
Are burqas acceptable in this country?
Well, I don't like burqas. I don't allow them in my surgery.
If you were Prime Minister, would you ban them?
So I have already said that we're going to look at all this. It's banned in France. Is it working? It's not working at all. The burqa is also not the thing that most people wear. It's the niqab. So let's get the terminology right. What are we talking about? What exactly are we banning?
What would you like to ban? Is it the full black robe,
this is not
the niqab with just eyes apparent?
We're starting in the wrong place. This is not about bans. This is about how do we make sure that British culture is something that is emphasised and we don't have separatist communities.
Is a niqab in line with British culture? So, is a woman fully covering themselves so that only their eyes are apparent? Is that in line with British values in 2026?
No, it is not. But freedom to dress as you please is also British culture.
Do you think the women who are wearing niqabs are dressing as they please?
You've got to give me a chance to finish the question, or the answer. We need to find the right balance. What I do not want to see is people being shut off in separate communities where they have no access to the rest of British life. That's why we're looking at things like cousin marriage, for example. It's one of the things that emphasises that. Where are people coming from? We have to look at it all in the round. If you just start with ban this, ban that, where are the police to do it? We've got a plan for 10,000 extra police officers. Are they going to put the women in prison? Are they going to be removing the burqas? We've got to think through these things properly, not just say, "Oh, we're going to ban the burqa." That's not serious policy making.
I asked specifically about the niqab because you're a very modern-minded, strong woman, and I'm just wondering whether you think that the niqab, which is a full covering from head to toe with only eyes apparent, And yes, you could say, and I will always argue for a woman's right to wear what she wants. If it's being dictated to her by some kind of patriarchy, I'm asking you that because you're the only real prominent female leader in the whole of the Westminster sphere right now. OK, we can look at Plaid, but just of the main parties. So it is pertinent to ask you particularly whether you think this is
I need to be able to answer. I can answer. And I have said that I don't like it. I don't think that sort of covering is British. People come to this country for British values, which are liberal in terms of what women can wear. So no, I don't think so. I don't like it. No face coverings in my surgery. But how do you get rid of it? You need to start with the root of the problem. Simply telling people you can't wear this doesn't suddenly make them part of society. And what I'm talking about is proper root and branch deep thinking that's actually going to solve this once and for all, not just random announcements of, oh, we'll ban this and then hope it's okay. Because the people who have done it, the French, have shown that it's not quite working. Let's do what works.
Can I ask you about Morgan McSweeney's mobile phone? Bridget Phillipson, the Education Secretary, was in the studio earlier saying that people that were asking questions about this may be pursuing conspiracy theories, which would include you, because you've suggested that the government is conspiring in some kind of cover-up.
There must be some kind of cover-up. Just look at what's happened with the release of these Mandelson files and how hard we had to work to get them. So many things missing from the notes. We've highlighted that there are things missing from the notes. But also, when Morgan McSweeney reported his government phone being lost, at no point did he say, I am the Chief of Staff to the Prime Minister. Iran could have stolen that phone. Russia could have stolen that phone. We don't know. How can you not escalate that to the security services? The Chief of Staff knows every single thing the Prime Minister is doing. That is fishy. And she can call it a conspiracy theory, but something has gone...
She said we need to be careful to avoid conspiracy theories. She's saying he was mugged, it was reported to the police, and the police are dealing with it. And by the way, other ministers have all said we'll comply with the humble address demands.
Yeah, well, it's just very fishy.
Well, what about the other two phones? I mean, what should McSweeney be compelled to do with all of this?
Well, the humble address says everything, so let's see everything. Even Labour MPs want to know what went on. And I think that as soon as I'd asked those initial questions about Mandelson back in September, he knew he was in trouble. And so the timing of the loss of the government phone is suspicious. He has disappearing messages. The amount of time they're taking will give people plenty of time to lose phones, for things to disappear. What we want to see is full compliance with the humble address, which would not have happened if Conservatives hadn't fought for this. We're the only ones opposing Labour right now. We're the only ones exposing the damage they're doing. Whether on the Mandelson scandal, their stupid energy policy, or the Ed Miliband's running the country, getting a U-turn on family farms tax, on winter fuel, we are the ones doing this right now. There is no credible alternative to Labour except us.
Final question. Miss Phillipson didn't seem to rule out the Prime Minister watering down Shabana Mahmood's plans when it comes to indefinite leave to remain. What's your reaction to that, very briefly?
They should not water these down. We have offered them all of the Conservative votes to make sure that they get this through. We need to fix our border. Everyone can see that immigration was too high. This is something that I have apologised for and acknowledged, that immigration under previous Conservative governments was too high. Now we can do something about it. Why won't they do something about it? There's no point them criticising us and then doing nothing. Keir Starmer is a hostage to his left-wing Labour backbenchers. Ed Miliband doesn't like this, so he feels he doesn't have support.
Well, it's Angela Rayner as well. She said it was
yes, and she doesn't like... Yes, she's one of the left-wing backbenchers. And they need our help. We have given the help. We've offered the help, rather. I've written to Keir Starmer and said, I will give you votes to get this through. If he waters down any of her proposals, it shows that he's not serious about controlling our borders. What Shabana Mahmood needs is support. This is not enough, by the way, what she's doing. It's just the first step, so we're not going to stand in the way. There's a lot more that needs to be done. It's not perfect, but we're not going to let the perfect be the enemy of the good. What her Prime Minister should be doing is standing by her. But he's terrified. Ever since that Gorton and Denton by-election, which they lost to the Greens are doing very well. They're going to start pandering to
be fair, the Tories are forecast to lose 1,000 seats at the
let's see what actually happens.
You don't think it will be that bad?
Well, I think
1,000 lost and Reform will gain 2,260.
Well, we can see what they've done with the councils which they did run. They've lost so many of the people who didn't know what they were signing themselves up for, raising council tax to 9% in Worcester Worcestershire. We
Okay.
have a clear plan.
But are you
and I'm
saying
Conservatives
it won't be as bad as 1,000-seat losses?
I am saying that Conservatives are coming back. People like the policies, and we're going to be campaigning as hard as we can to win every single seat. I'm not gambling or betting on the show. Right. I'm not giving targets. I've told everybody, go out there and win everything. All right. That's what I've asked for.
I'm not going to turn you into a gambling woman this morning. Kemi Badenoch, thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you, Camilla.
Coming up next, I'm going to be speaking